All right, drum studs, here we go again with some more fundamentals. It's time to learn about the downstroke. If you haven't watched our lesson on the series stroke yet, I recommend you go back and watch that first. If you feel comfortable with the series stroke, this is the perfect place to be. In my opinion, I think the downstroke is probably the easiest stroke to learn of the three main stroke types. I think it's the easiest because most kids naturally will play downstrokes on their own. Teaching kids not to play downstrokes is the real challenge. So what is a downstroke? Well, a downstroke is just simply a stroke that starts high and ends lower than it started. Typically, that lower part will end up in the tap zone that we spoke about in our series stroke video. So before the series stroke starts up and ends up, the downstroke will start up and end down. I think the downstroke is probably the easiest for students to learn because it's very much of like what they would be doing in other activities. If you're hammering, you're not going to hit the hammer and bounce off, and you're not going to start low and tap the nail and bounce off either. Just like in sports, you're not going to hit something and then pull away from it. You're typically going to hit through it, whether it be a baseball or whether it be a golf ball. So the downstroke is very similar to the series stroke, except for the fact that we're not going to allow the stick to bounce up as high as we would on the series stroke. We're going to start at an up position, we're going to strike the drum, we're still going to let the stick rebound, but we're going to use our hand to stop it. That doesn't mean we're going to squeeze the stick or get very tense, it just means that we're going to stop the stick. Most students will weigh more than a drumstick and should be able to easily overpower it without much effort. So here are some examples of downstrokes. It's very unlikely that you'll play more than one downstroke in a row. It is possible, and it's used in things like diminuendos or decrescendos, but typically a downstroke will be followed by an upstroke or a series stroke or a tap. So when will you use a downstroke? Well, basically you're going to use a downstroke anytime you have a loud note with one hand followed by a soft note with the same hand. So an example would be, if my first note is loud, I'll play the downstroke, and then I'll leave it down followed by, let's say, a tap, and I'll play a soft note. Another example might be a downstroke followed by an upstroke. Downstroke, upstroke. And again, just like the series stroke, the downstroke is a single note. It is not multiple bounces, it is not a press, and our stick is still rebounding off the drum. We're simply catching it at the next volume height required. Stroke types are extremely important. Like a good billiards player, they allow us to set ourselves up for future motions. We want to make sure that we are, in my words, already ready already. I tell my students this because A, it sounds silly and they'll remember it, and B, it's what I want them to do. I want them to play their note, and then when they finish that note, they're already ready to play the next note. Like I said, the downstroke is probably the easiest stroke for students to learn. If you have a question about downstrokes, feel free to leave me a comment. And while you're there, go ahead and click like and subscribe to this channel. You can also go over to TheDrumStuds.com and check out more ways to get started off right and then off the left.